Hello.
It's all about Ghanaian languages. It's all about Ghanaian languages. It's all about Ghanaian languages, Junior.
Hello guys, so today we are going to look at languages with very confusing identities in Ghana. These are languages that once you name them, people get confused as to whether this is language A or language B. And to begin, we have the Efutu language. Now, Efutu has communities like Winneba, Senya, and some few other communities, that's Kwekwe and Co. Winnebers and Co all call themselves Efutus, but the people of Senya, they don't usually call the language Efutu. Meanwhile, they are speaking Efutu. They'll say, Maka Senya, or I'm speaking Senya. So it forces you to think Senya is a very unique language on its own, but it's not so. It's just a dialect. And what we mean by a dialect is that slight differences here and there, but not so different from the Futu. Every language has dialects, but Senya is the name of the community, and the language they speak is a Futu. But then, the people of Senya now use the name of the community to identify the language, which if somebody comes into contact with somebody from Winneba, hearing the same language, the person will be like, why are you calling yours Senya? And why is this person calling his Efutu? It tends to confuse people. Yeah, so these are one group of people with some identity crisis here. That's the Senya people. Confusing the name of the original language with the name of its town. Secondly, we have the Krobo people. These people are speaking Dangbe, but they tend to call the language Krobo, which is not so, and which is not supposed to be so. The language is Dangbe, and that is it. The Dangbe state has vassal communities like the Krobo state, the Adan state, the Ningo state, the Pram Pram, Shai, Osudoku, and then the intermediary bones, because bones are now in between Gans and Dangbe. So bones, yes, are Dangbes, but they speak Gan now. Okay, yeah. You hear most Krobo people claiming that they are Krobo, and most of them don't identify as Dangbe. Most of them will tell you they're not speaking Dangbe, and that Dangbe is different from their language, which is not true. Krobo people are speaking Dangbe, and even the name Krobo is not their real name. The real name is Klo. Klo is the real name. Krobo is just an exoname created by a group of people for them, and the name has been popularized. Next in line, we have Equiapimtri and Akwemutri. Equiapimtri and Akwemutri are one in the same. And the fact of the matter is, that type of tree is actually Akwemutri. But then, due to the Bible, or the tree Bible being named Equiapimtri, the name Equiapimtri became more popular. So people tend to think Akwemutri is very different from Equiapimtri, but they are one in the same. Even in history, everywhere, everyone knows this. I know most people tend to confuse the two, thinking Akwemutri is unique on its own, whereas Equiapimtri is unique on its own. And there are so many tree dialects that are one in the same, like the Kweuchi, Achim, they're all tree. But people tend to say this is Achim tree, this is Kweuchi. Fine, there are dialects, like I said, some minor variations, but due to the popularization of Kumawood, most of the three dialects have become one because you don't see the differences anymore, because almost every Akan community knows how to speak the Kumawood promoted Akan dialects such as the Asante Tree, the Ekuapin Tree, and the Fanti. Okay, we also have this group of people called the Enum and Boso people. These people are speaking the Gwa language. The Enum people will tell you that they are speaking Enum language. The Bosos will tell you they are speaking Gwa. Now, so at Enum, there is an identity crisis over there. The language is not Enum, the language is Gwa. And Enum, Boso, Esikuma, Tosinanyo, they all speak Gwa. And even Opokwase, Enum, Opokwase, they all speak Gwa. So we find some identity crisis over here, where the Enums are claiming they're speaking Enum, and then the Boso people call the language the original name of the language. We also have some identity crisis going on with the Okre people, where, for instance, the Hebrews will say, I'm speaking Hebrew language. The Edukrons will say, I'm speaking Edukrom language. No, that's all Ekre or Chrepon. There's nothing like Hebrew language, Edukrom language, Abonsina. There's nothing like that. It's all Chrepon or Ekre. We also have the Brosa people. The Brosas are Enyins, speaking Enyi, but an Akanized Enyi. So it's the same Enyi, but they've softened so many hard Enyi sounds, such as the Enyi Mekpokele, then they'll say Mpochere, so the Kpa has become soft in Brosa, so they'll say Mepa. The Kele has become soft to Chere, and all else in Enyi have become R in Brosa. Because of this, the Brosers tend to see themselves unique from the Anyi people. Well, some Brosers still identify as Enyins, but the vast majority think Brosers are unique people and say Brosa language is different from Anyi language, which is wrong. We also have some Bono communities who are no longer speaking the actual Bono tree, and they're speaking Asante Tree, but they still identify as Bono, or we still say they are speaking Bono, but it's not Bono, they are speaking Asante Tree. Alright, let's move on. Go to the Fra communities. Among the Fra, there are groups like the Talensi who speak the Talni, Nabdam who speak Nabit, the Grunsi who speak the Gruni, Nankane speakers, and some few others. And most of them will just say, I'm speaking Fra. But it happens that when you listen to a Talensi who will tell you I'm speaking Fra, and a Gruni who will tell you I'm speaking Fra, when the two meet, they don't understand themselves. So you can see two Fra people speaking, but they don't understand whatever they are speaking. Or they may understand themselves partially, but not fully. Yeah. They're actually speaking different dialects, but they all call themselves Fra-Fres. So sometimes this is one of the situations where they identify as one, but they're not speaking the same. And sometimes somebody who presumes that a Talensi and maybe another person are the same Fra, and perhaps might have brought them together, who realize that they're not really speaking the same language, or they choose to communicate in a different language because they can't communicate in their different dialects. And we are seeing this situation where Wale and Nagare speakers make people think they are speaking two distinct languages. Meanwhile, it's not so. Now, when you check the northern Guan communities, especially the Naris, the Gonjes, the Inchumburus, they are speaking almost the same languages. But the Inchumburus may identify themselves different because they had a separate leader during their migration. Whereas the Naris will also identify different because of their different migration history. Same applies to the Gonjes. But they're all speaking the same language. Yes, there may be some one or two differences, but they're the same languages. And the Naris identify themselves uniquely from the Inchumbrus, who also see themselves unique from the Gonjes. Well, Karachi may be a little different in that zone, although Karachi is also a Guan language, and all these languages mentioned are Guan languages. But when you check Nari, Inchumbu, and Gonja, you barely see the difference because they are almost one in the same. The difference are usual is due to religion. Gonjas are mostly Muslim, so Islam contributes some vocabulary into the Gonja language. Naris are mostly Christians, and Naris are close to the Nanumbes and the Achodes. So obviously they may be borrowing some one or two words from the Nanumli language as well as the Gichode. Same applies to Chumbru, who has close contact with Karachi, a fellow Guan language, and absorbs some words also from Bonotri, Dry, and other Guan dialects. We also have Yeji people, or the Yeji in Chumbru, who are speaking a blend of Gonja and, in quote, an Inchumbru dialect. And you can't tell whether Yeji Inchumbru is Gonja or Inchumbru mixed with Gonja. It's quite unique. So this goes on to prove that these groups are one in the same, because if Yejis in Chumbru is in between the regular Inchumbu and Gonja, and Inchumbulu links to Nari and Nari links back to Gonja, to see that one in the same people. Well, some may contest and some may argue, some may agree, but nonetheless all contributions are welcome. If you have any other question, you can drop it in the comment box below. If you wish to learn more about the Ghanaian languages, my book Know Ghana Better does that job, where all the languages in Ghana have been detailed in it. All the tourist sites, historical places have all been detailed in that book. Catch you in the next video.
It's Genesis on the beat.